ice, or it could be translated as ice or the freeze, also interpreted as a pause or a stillness, kind of like the hanged man in the tarot. This is also because it's likened to ice. It's also thought of, because this is a Scandinavian language and alphabet, right? This is akin to an iceberg. And the strength, the quiet strength in the iceberg, especially that's building and growing over time in what seems like nothing happening. So Isa, whenever you're finding this video, is probably finding you. And so think about where you are existing in Isa, in the still, in the freeze. What's frozen for you or still for you? Or what do you feel like you're waiting for? So in that is this powerful force, should we choose to draw on it. And even just putting up one finger is the rune, right? One finger is the rune. So Isa, it's almost like, shh. The energy is building, the strength, the power, the sure and pure force of an iceberg when it cracks off the mountain and bursts into the sea or the waterways, and what a massive impact that it has, and how much that it carries, what it can do. It could, cover an entire village. It can raise water levels. It can impact many. A single blow could shatter a giant ship, or sink one. So when you think about that still pause as a building, a force building in you, and it's a quiet force, but a force nonetheless. So Isa asks us to tune into what is building, what is creating a strength, a quiet strength, behind all the ruckus, behind all the activity. This rune is like opposing Suwilo, even though together they make this strength that leads to empowerment, right? Suwilo is the sun and could melt an iceberg, right? But here we are in Isa, the ice, which is also related to, like in yogic tradition, I think of ice as the cool channel of Ida. And funny enough, it's Isa, I-S-A, Ida, the left channel in the spine, the feminine, the moon, the lunar, is spelled similarly, right? Ida, Isa, and they both are this cool, still channel. So Ida in the body is the receptive force. It is that feminine, magnetic drawing. So the power is coming through not activity, but through surrender. And through the parasympathetic nervous system, the one that you are resting in rest state with, right? So think of how rest state, ceasing activity, is building a quiet force behind you now. So that when the iceberg breaks, so to speak, or the time is right, the waiting is over, the cue from the universe, the switching of polarities, when that moment occurs, then the great force is released, the unstoppable force, really. So it's a powerful rune. I experience this rune deeply. It's one of my personal runes, and you can find out your personal runes by just reaching out, sending a message, making a comment down below. I want to know my personal runes. There is some literature out there, you can look it up too, but I love to do that exercise with people, especially because the books that I found on it have very short explanations, so it's fun to dialogue about that. But Isa, as a personal rune, I experienced a similar thing. And if you don't have this as a personal rune, it doesn't mean you don't have access to this, but it's dear to my heart, especially with the winter solstice birthday, this association with ice and stillness. And I also am Venus in Aquarius, which can seem cold at times in relation, but there's also this building, this force that's building all the time that feels like a capacity. And for me, I allow that to be a love capacity. And of course, Isa can carry with it many forces, but maybe none so powerful as love. So if you have this as a personal rune or if you're experiencing it now, I do encourage you, because other things that we focus on can be destructive when unleashed. And because ice is so powerful and it's active now, especially while you're watching this video, I feel like we never find these runes by accident. They're speaking to us at a time, even if you just got the alert, hey, this Stasia just put out this video on the Isa rune and you follow me or something. It's still, I don't do this video. I don't do the next video, if you've noticed, until the time is right, until there is this force that moves me too. And so it's been some time since I did the previous rune, and sometimes it's not as long, but there's a rhythm that I try to attune to when I do the videos. And so I'm sure if you're watching this around the time, or it's found you at a later time, that you are also surfing the Isa. And so be cautious of what you're allowing to build as a force. You know, if it's an anger, it can freeze your heart, or it can be very destructive when it is unleashed, right? So the best way to move that energy is toward love. And sometimes that's difficult. We're in the freeze or the waiting, but it's a request to dig deep. Isa rune is like a pole, you know, it has the least amount of resistance. It can go straight down into the depths of our psyche and of ourself, like a pole can reach deep into the ice best, right? Like a straw going down into a milkshake. That cylindrical shape has some gravity, this is what I'm getting, is like this almost like aerodynamicism that allows things like the archer's bow and arrow to be very focused when it unleashes, if that makes sense. Yeah, so I think we're going to stop there. But if you have any questions about this, or you are experiencing this energy in your life right now and you want to share how that's showing up for you, that would always be helpful and awesome to anybody else who's watching, you know, confirmation of our experiences. For me, I'll just end with this. When I feel the energy of Isa building, there is sort of a desire to protect something, and that's why it builds. You know, it's the desire to not just unleash immediately, right? There's something within that's like, wait. And that is a call into the mystery. There is some of the Perthrow rune there, which we haven't explored yet in these videos, but some of the mysterious nature of life that kind of is like, wait, like you're tiptoeing through the forest, you're looking for something, and then something intuits you to pause, right? So Isa can also be pointing to the intuition of why to cease action or why to draw back, right? And something occurs that maybe even feels like you could crush it, or it's inflammatory in nature, but you choose to pull back. And by so doing, you build a quiet power and you build a reserve. And in that frozen state of Isa, it could even feel like time slows down for you, because you're trying to, in a way, manipulate your own energy towards something that can be the most beneficial, right? Manipulation is not always negative. It's like, if you're going to take clay or stone and manipulate it into a shape, right? You're directing it. So Isa is a call within into that silent place. We're not just waiting for life to just move us and melt us again. We're waiting for the moment when we hear the ice crack. And then what have we placed behind it that may come as a force into our life? All right. Many blessings, much love. Thanks for dropping in. I hope if this video or other videos help you, that you share, like, and subscribe. I appreciate you so much. If you would like to book a private session to do a rune reading, or look at your personal runes, or astrology, or an oracle tarot card reading, please do reach out. There's lots of other stuff we could talk about, but go to my website, blissinthehouse.com, and you can look into it more. Okay, I appreciate you. I love you. You can do it. You're amazing.